was interested in prosecuting big names at the time. And Giuliani, according to the information that I have, and I think it's solid, promised a conviction of the Marcoses to the State Department, to the Department of Justice. But more than that, there was evidence in the case that the Philippine government under Aquino wanted to gather up all of this evidence or gather up all of this property that they believed belonged to the Philippine government and that Marcos had. And in exchange for that, the United States needed its bases over there. And they entered into what was called the Mutual Legal Assistance Agreement, which was an agreement between these two governments to prosecute the Marcoses. And when Mr. Marcos died, they continued to prosecute this widow.
Let me ask you a couple of legal questions to one of the best legal minds in America. Is it tough to try a case when there are two defendants and two different lawyers?
Yes, it's very tough. But in this case, we had Adnan Khashoggi's interests were quite similar to ours. The truth was the same. There wasn't the defenses weren't in conflict, and Mr. Khashoggi was represented by a very fine lawyer by the name of James Lynn.
How long was the jury out?
4 days.
Did that get you a little worried after a time?
What pain lawyers go through. You know, every time I wait for a jury, I say to myself, you know, Lord, just let me get through this one and I'll never take another case.
Okay, the longer they stayed, the more worried you get?
Oh, you know, and you can't sleep. It's like waiting for a baby that's never born.
Was she a good client?
She was, you know, this is a beautiful woman. And she was the best client I ever had.
Why did she need so many shoes? That was obviously a point that the thought about Imelda was greed.
Well, you know, that the thing that they never really understood about Imelda was that she really wasn't a greedy woman. She was very loved, and she is loved, and she's loved by the masses of people in the Philippines. And the people here, everybody that touched her, saw her, fell in love with her. She is an absolutely marvelous, wonderful human being. She was gifted. You know, she didn't go out and buy this stuff. People gave it to her. Her husband gave it to her. Rich people, princes, people just loved her and showered her with gifts. And with respect to her shoes, you know, my wife's got 100 pairs of shoes, I think. So what? But in her case, the Philippines manufacture shoes, and everybody that manufactured shoes had a new model of pair of shoes, wanted to have her have those shoes, wanted her to wear them. And if you go back and check her closet out, you'll find that most of them